Hi, I'm Susannah, and this is Kenosha Reads YA, I think we're calling it now, where we talk about YA books that we love. This month, we're going to be talking about books for Black History Month that are about Black history or Black culture. But first, I want to talk about our Black History Month book club. We are going to be reading Pride by Ibi Zoboi on February 17th at 4:30 p.m. on Zoom. You can come and discuss that book with us. It's a great Pride and Prejudice remix about teens growing up in quickly gentrifying Brooklyn, I want to say. No, I want to say Brooklyn because, yes, Brooklyn. I read a different book about Brooklyn that I will talk about very soon. So, but that is going to be February 17th at 4:30 p.m. And if you sign up, you can also get a free copy of the book and you to keep forever. It's yours, and you'll be able to pick that up at Southwest Library after you register. So come do that. It's going to be great.
Okay. So for those of you who are not sure what's going on, we've already recorded this basically once, and then I forgot to press record. So none of that was usable. So we're doing this again if it seems like we are streaming lining a bit. I am Alejandria. I'm the teen librarian at Kenosha Public Library, and I am usually better at technology. This, I'm just going to hold up the book cover, but I will also just input one into there. I read Angel of Greenwood as my selection for this month. It's by Randy Pink. It's a very new book. It just came out this month, which we're recording this in January, so it's still very new in February. It's got a gorgeous cover. This is Angel. The book takes place during the days leading up to the 1921, I'm sure I get my year right. Yeah, 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. And it takes place in Greenwood District of Tulsa. And you kind of get to meet the residents through the perspectives of Isaiah and Angel. The book takes place alternating between their two perspectives, and it really is a love story. It just happens to end in a very tragic event. And through their eyes and through their interactions, you kind of get to see them fall in love, and you get to see what is so great about the Greenwood District of Tulsa and why it is really a haven in a time of segregation and Jim Crow and a lot of other places in the country. But still shows how they don't completely escape all of that. I would recommend this book to pretty much anybody if you like historical fiction or not. I think, even though we're in 2021, this book takes place 100 years ago, it still feels very contemporary. It doesn't feel like too placed back in the past. Like, it feels like this could happen today, this love story and these interactions with these people in this neighborhood. It's not a very long book, but even so, the chapters are very short. So I think you'll get through it really quickly. If you're a little apprehensive about books that drag on, it does not drag on. But you will feel a lot of things when you read this book. So pick up a copy of Angel of Greenwood and check it out.
All right. I am Megan. I'm an early literacy specialist here at the library. And the book that I read for this month is actually considered an adult, but it's a really great crossover title. But technically, it's an adult graphic novel. I read March, book 1, by former Congressman John Lewis, Andrew Iden, and Nate Powell. If you recognize the name, Congressman John Lewis passed away last year. He was congressman for the state of Georgia, and he was heavily involved in the civil rights movement in the 60s. And so the trilogy is kind of the story, it's the story of his life. And book 1 starts with his childhood up until when he starts getting involved in the civil rights movement, in particular the sit-ins that they had at lunch counters, at department stores. And it also kind of flashes forward to modern day. The story it takes place on Barack Obama's inauguration day, and John Lewis is in his office getting ready to go watch the inauguration, and some of his constituents are in there, and he kind of runs into them and is talking to them about his life. And it really drives home, you know, how remarkable his story is and how important he is to American history. And it's a very short graphic novel. So if you don't like real long stories, I definitely would pick up book one. It sucked me in right away. I read the first 36 pages just standing there because it's just hard to put down. But I do want to give a warning for language. It's used in a historical context, but it is difficult to read. So just be aware going into that, that there is some very strong language that's used.
And I just really quickly want to interject with another program promotion, because as you were mentioning this, the first time we recorded, I'm like, wait, I think that the African American read-in this year is kind of celebrating the legacy of John Lewis. So that'll be on Facebook. It'll be a virtual event. It's on February 13th, which is a Saturday. I'll put a little poster below here right now. So tune in for that.
And as I said at the beginning, I'm Susannah. I'm a teen and family engagement librarian, primarily at our North Side branch. And the book I'm going to be talking about today, we were all a little alarmed to realize that it is historical fiction. It is about Black history. And that book is Let Me Hear a Rhyme by Tiffany Jackson, which is set in 1998. So this one is, if you've read any Tiffany Jackson, you know she always writes these really twisty stories. They're usually kind of mystery, thrillery at the heart, and she always writes characters that have a lot of secrets, and you're never sure if they're telling the truth, even in their own narration. So Let Me Hear a Rhyme is centered around a character named Steph, who is an up-and-coming rapper in the projects of Brooklyn. And he has, at the opening of the story, he has just been shot and killed. Nobody knows why, nobody knows exactly what happened. But his two best friends, Quadir and Jarrell, and his younger sister, Jasmine, who are the three point of view characters in the story, are determined that they're going to figure out what happened to him, and also that they are going to make him famous even after he is gone. So they discover that he has left boxes and boxes of tapes he has recorded of himself rapping, stuff he's mixed, all that kind of thing. So they decide they're going to put together a CD of his music and release it. And it gets played at parties and on the radio, and they're selling all these copies of the CDs, but they get in way over their heads. Of course, they're trying to get him a recording contract, which is hard to do when you don't have a person and they're not telling the record company that he's already dead. So there's just a lot going on. And as you go on, I started reading faster and faster as I was reading it, because you're getting bits and pieces of all the secrets that these three characters are keeping, and how those secrets are connected to what happened to Steph. So it's a really great mystery, as well as being a really cool story about rap in the 90s. It's kind of takes place in this really early golden age of rap culture as we know it today. Tupac was assassinated in 1996, and then Biggie in 1997, and so all these characters are thinking a lot about these rappers that have these really big careers even after they've been killed. So that's tied in a really interesting way, and I learned a lot, but it was also a really compelling mystery to read. Stay up way too late reading very quickly.
All right, so I think that's everything that we have for you. Of course, there are so many more books we'd love to recommend for you, but for the sake of your time, we've tried to keep these a bit shorter. But if none of these are reaching out to you or appealing you, or you want more choices, you can always come to the Kenosha Public Library or reach out to us online, and we would be happy to give you more recommendations. All right, so we're going to sign off and say goodbye. Thank you for joining today.